everybody. I'm Allegra Erznosnik here with the Grace Company, and we are here with Kathy Quilts for our amazing digital event and everything QCT related. This is Lynn. He'll be being our amazing demonstrator for us. You're only going to spend about 10 minutes with me, and then the rest of the time, excluding the last 5 minutes, are going to be complete straight automation demo. So any questions you have, anything you're interested in, don't be afraid to ask those questions. We'll be here to answer them. So first, we're going to start off with some pretty exciting things. Where you can find these events, you can always find it on Kathy Quilt's YouTube or their Facebook, and you can also find it on the event platform through Grace Company. We want to thank everyone for joining us. We're excited to have you here today. And if you do want to make a purchase, which we hope you do, because Kathy Quilts has great pricing for this event, you can call them, email them, whatever you want. We'll have their information kind of ticking around the bottom later in the event. We are going to have 2 giveaways today. Our first one is our Quilters Combo from our True Cut line. Comes with a 24.5 by 6.5 ruler, our 45mm comfort cutter, and a package of True Grips. We use that tracking guide system so that your cutter can lip onto that ruler. There's no pulling away, no cutting over your ruler. It makes your cutting more safe and more precise. So if we can go ahead and get a little bit of a drum roll on my end, and we're going to announce that first winner, and if you wouldn't mind popping it up on the screen for me, that would be great. It's for the Quilters Combo. Yes, there we go. Okay, here we go. And it's Michelle Gonzalez.
Oh, awesome.
Congratulations. We'll go ahead and get that shipped out to you. I'll reach out to you. My name's Allegra, so you should be expecting an email from Allegra to get your shipping information so I can get that out to you. Our next one that we'll be giving away at the end of our video is our Free Motion Starter Kit, which is everything you need to get started, whether you're new to free motion or not. You've got some really awesome tracing sheets, so you can build that muscle memory, and then we've got blank ones as well, so if you want to practice a specific pattern, you're more than welcome to do so. We've got a really nice pre-quilting checklist that goes through everything you want to make sure is correct before you start quilting, as well as some tips and tricks. And then you also get a full practice quilt. You get the backing, the batting, and the top fabric, which has dotted lines printed on there to make it really easy to follow and help build that muscle memory. And then just to make sure you can get started right out of the box, you get 2 spools of sample thread plus pre-wound bobbins. They come in L class, 15 class, and M class. So whether or not you're using a domestic machine or a quilting machine, we have all those pre-wound bobbins for you. All right, we're just gonna do a quick dive into the tiers of automation that we offer and what you can find in each of those, and then we'll turn it over to Kathy Quilts for a deep dive on the demonstration. So I've got my little tablet here with an HDMI cord, so I can stream it to you guys nice and easy. All right, so first I'm gonna pull this screen up, and you'll notice we have 4 sections. The first one says QCT 6. This one I also like to call edge to edge, and that's because this one only allows for you to place an edge to edge pattern, and you can do 1 row at a time. So no block placements, just your edge to edge. It's very easy to use, walks you through each and every step, very nice and simple. The next one is QCT 6 Plus, which we're going to see about on that second one. That one, you get your edge to edge, but you can do up to 2 rows at a time with edge to edge. You get an extra row that you can program before having to reset it. You also have access now to your block placements, triangle placements, so you're not limited to a pattern that can only go from one side to the other of your quilt. The first tier, edge to edge, comes with about 150 patterns for you. You aren't able to upload your own patterns into that one. But once we get up to QCT 6, you get about 200 more patterns, plus the ability to upload patterns you've already found or purchased. So that's really nice. Once we get to Pro, that one, you get a little bit more creative freedom. So this one is going to be everything the bottom 2 offered, but you can draw and design your own quilt patterns. You can record free motion quilting as a pattern for later, and you can also design your entire quilt layout. So all of these are really nice and awesome functions. Now, if you have Pro and you want a little bit extra, we have a gold card. Now this gold card is a yearly subscription. It's only compatible with Pro, but it does give you a lot of options that we're also going to do a deep dive in later. So we're going to turn it over to Kathy Quilts if they're ready, and we're going to do a deep dive into our demonstration.
Okay, so yeah, we're going to cover some things. So there's a lot to cover in Quilt Motion, QCT 6. And so what we need to do is we're going to pick and choose some of the things. So if there's somebody that really has something in particular that they need or they would like to see us cover, they've got to text that in the comments, and then that way we can do that, because Allegra will let us know if that's who is texting us. But anyway, the very first thing about Quilt Motion is that it makes it so that you can automate your quilting. Now we have some sample things that I've done down here, and so actually I think I'm going to show you that. Okay, hang on just a second on that one. Anyway, this if you can kind of see this, I have this little purple panel that I put over this lighter colored one. And the reason why I did this is a lot of times when we would be at a quilt show, rather than putting a whole new quilt on, what we would do is we would just put another top on. And so I wanted this to be like it's a real quilt, and then you can see a difference. Because when you're quilting on this, you're going to want to have your quilting go off the quilt onto the batting a little bit. And the reason why is because there is that edge, you're going to cut it, and that's going to be inside your binding. But Kathy just likes it when she can have it go over there, because that way she makes sure that there's no funny little endings to her pattern. Now, first off, whenever you get started with this, now we're using the Pro version, but you can go and you can select the different versions. So if you have edge to edge, or if you have the plus version, some of these things are going to be transferable as well. So again, if you have questions about, well, what do I do? Just let us know. But the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go in, and if we're going to do an edge to edge pattern, we're going to select that. And first thing you're going to do is you're going to set your safe zone. What that means is that this is the area that you're going to be able to quilt in. And so I would just go as far as I can this way. So even though my quilt is here, if it was a real quilt, I'd probably just go out just past it just a little bit. But you'll go like that and type or touch that. And then you go over here, and then you go as far forward as you can, and then you touch the bottom right. So now this is the area that I can quilt in. So a lot of times your quilt isn't going to be perfectly square. And so one of the things Kathy uses all the time, and that's called the marking tool. And so what we'll do is we'll kind of get into that in just a second, but we'll just find a design that we can do. Now this is in power mode, meaning it's the power panto, and that's really handy because it'll make it so that you can see your whole quilt. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna pick a design here. See, we'll go select a design, and I have a special one that I did for this. So let's in this folder. Now, well, I really like this one because it looks like contour lines on a map. And we like to go camping and do all that. You can see that this is a little jumbled together. And so if I go like this, I can move that apart. And so now it makes it look a little bit better, but I need to have it made a little closer. Now, what I want to do too is since this is kind of a small area, I'm going to make the size of my pattern, I'm going to 4 inches tall. So it'll go like that. And so now that looks like, wow, that's way huge. Well, what I'm going to do is I really want to measure the area that I'm going to be doing. A lot of times people will use just like a regular tape measure, but this is the one that I have. So if I go like this, I can see that this area right here is 22 inches wide. So I'm going to go in here and on my width, and I'm going to go 22. So see how now that's changed how that looks. And so that looks like maybe that spacing is still a little bit wider than I want. So I might go down, and I'm going to go like 1.5. Nope, that was not what I wanted. Oh, I see. I need to go back. Sorry. It's 0.5. There we go. 0.15. So yeah, those decimals really make a difference. Anyway, so now that we have that and we know our width and then the height, let's just say that this was, a little bit bigger quilt and it's going to be like 35 inches long. So it's going to be kind of a little topper. Now you can see how it shows the whole thing. And then what we're going to do once we do that is we want to go in and measure this. So you go and hit your ruler, and then I'm right on the edge of this, so I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to come all the way over here to this other side, and then that's the other part of my ruler. So that is measured out, roughly 22 inches. So what I can do is if I hit this button, then it will go over to the center of where between. Okay, okay, this button right here. See, this one marks the one side. This one marks the other side, and then this one that looks like a little sewing machine. What that means is it's moving your machine to the center. And so what I will do typically is I will either get a piece of masking tape, and I can put that under here where I want, because that I know that that's my center, like that. Or sometimes use a, not on this color, but I'd use a disappearing pen, and I can just mark that center. But if I go like that, now I'm done. So this is going to be my center. Now, one of the things that I need to do too, though, is these things over here are really important because I want to be able to sew in zones. So because I can't sew that whole thing all at once. So if I go like that, it's going to do set up my zones. And then it says, would you like to save this on? Usually what we'll do is we'll say yes or no. It just depends. But Kathy does know a lot of times. And then what she will do is she'll actually take a picture of this. And so what I want to do now is I want to go in and I also want to optimize this because this is showing some jump lines. So if I go in here like this, I can do remove all. And then it will start over here and it ends up over here. And this is for some. Okay, so now that I got that, let's do okay. So let's see. On this. Okay, so you can see that this is outside the safe area. Oops. So if we do that, then it's because the placed height is wrong. So let me redo that. Hang on just a let me try that one more time. You know, it's so Kathy makes this look so easy, and it is, but sometimes it's easy to mess it up too. Okay, so let's see. Well, let me try this anyway. I want to do a marking tool. That was something I was going to show you anyway. But when we go over here, I'm going to mark it because I want to see exactly that my pattern is going to be where I want it. So it'll do that. And then I'm going to just move it along like this. Okay, so you can see that that's not quite right. So I'll go like this, and then let me just see if we can move this over. Whoops. Okay, so that knowing where that center was is really important. So you can see that as I move this over just a little bit, and then that'll move that into there. So let me. Okay, hang on just a second.
Is it possible to get a little closer to the screen, Lynn?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm just.
Reset your safe area.
Oh, okay. Oh, I gotta do one other really quick thing. I need to go in here into the settings. I need to try to reset my safe area and then, oops, that's not it. Okay, hang on. You know what? I'm gonna redo this because somehow I messed up my safe area. Let's see.
You can hit the help with the question mark at the top
This one. Oh, okay.
and then go to settings.
Settings. Okay, right there. I knew it was someplace. Is it that one? Safe area, right there. Let's change it. Okay. So let's just do this.
Yeah, so for those who didn't see, we went up to this question mark in the top right corner, and then we went to settings, and then this screen popped up, and the third option down says safe area. We can hit change, and then it'll prompt us to reset our safe area. So if you're ever stuck in the middle of something and you need to reset it, that's how we're gonna do it.
Okay. Yeah, and sometimes, I mean, usually it works out just fine, but it's if you don't do this a lot, because I'm still learning. Kathy's like a pro at this, but she wants me to be able to figure this out on my own. So that's what I'm doing.
And then the pattern that you can see on my screen is the one that he did have selected, and I have it set at pattern height as 4, the same one, and the same vertical spacing, so you guys
Okay.
can see
So
how it looks for me.
4.
I won't be able to walk through every single step because I'm in simulation mode, so when it comes to the actual stitching and placing of the points, we're going to pay attention to Kathy Quilts for that.
So I'm resetting this, and then the height will go like 30. So there's that. Now we got to go in and set our little vertical spacing so it's not all crammed together. And that actually looks pretty good. think we were doing 0.15 before. That seemed to work just fine. Okay, now here we have that. Now we're going to go back here, so in zones. And then we're not going to save it. Okay, so there's that. So now our marking thing is off. We're going to just go back in the marking tool and get rid of that. Now we're going to redo that.
Gonna have to do the design to go back and forth so you don't have those jump stitches.
Oh, can I optimize it, or
You gotta go in and
let's see. Okay,
That's not really good.
well, that's not going to do it. Oh, okay. Okay.
it's gonna be right in there.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Just do it. So on zones.
But you have to, you have to have that go back and forth.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I remember that. Okay, zone manager. Oh, okay. That's what I didn't do.
So you want this to go back and forth.
It was on back and forth.
So what they're doing right now is they're making it so instead of going from left to the right and then moving all the way again to the left and sewing left to right, it'll sew left to right and then it'll go down to the next row and sew right to left and go back and forth. That way there's not as much moving the machine to the starting point, and it helps you utilize your time a lot better as well.
Right. Okay.
And then
Okay.
we do have a question.
Yes.
I just want to know, how are you guys removing those jump stitches?
Well, when you go in there and you have these stitches like this, you should be able to go into optimize like that. And you can see that stitch, it goes from here or here to here, starts here, starts over there. But if you do remove all, then it should start over here and end up over here. But let's make sure that does, and we don't mess something up. Okay, so anyway, it looks like I still need to measure this because I didn't do that. So let's get into
We can go to my screen now and I'll show you guys what that optimization looks like. So here we hit that optimize in that top corner and then it brings me here. Now down at the bottom, the second one's over, it says remove all, and then there's like a blue line with a circle and an X through it. Those are those jump lines. So if I hit remove all, what it's gonna do is it's gonna take all of those out so there is no more jumping from back to front. It'll just keep doing it in one continuous line.
so yeah, there's something going on with the way I have that. Let's
And
try
we're
this
at the
again.
screen where we're ready to place our pattern. That's where the optimize button is.
And do you have this wide enough? Because
Yeah, I
it doesn't
do.
look like here.
I do.
So if
I
I look
reset
here, then, oh, that looks like that's the one you're using.
Yeah, exactly.
You can also go into settings. You can change how fast you want it to go. We have slow, medium, fast. The way that I
Well,
got
that's what I
there
did. I didn't do
is
that
down
first.
in that right corner where it says Zone Manager. Right underneath, there's a little wheel, a gear, your typical settings icon. And that's where we can change those. We can adjust our stitches per inch. So more smaller patterns that have a lot more detail, we're gonna wanna have a tighter stitch per inch so it looks a little bit cleaner. We can also choose to have it automatically pull our bobbin. You can also decide how many stitches you want it to do when it does its tie off. So all of those are features that you can adjust in your system. Very customizable, which is very nice. So you can
What's
have
that
it
one down? The
whatever
next
is
one
best
down?
for you.
Back and forth, that's what we're looking
That's
for.
Okay. Yeah, we found the thing. It was the back and forth that we were missing. Okay. It's so easy to mess that up. So let's go back and show you guys that again. So you go into the zone manager and you go like that. So now that shows that, but this is important. You want to have this placement in the center. This next one down, you want to have the zone start position.
It doesn't matter on that one.
That one, but
Yeah.
this is the one that we were looking for, right here. So that means that it's going to sew back and forth, and then that way you don't have those jump lines. And so what's that? Oh, sewing
here is-
direction back and forth.
Yes, so I am in that zone manager right now, and in the very right option where we see those kind of green boxes on the right, the second one down says zone start position.
Okay.
This one will do, now that I have both arrows coming the same direction, that one will sew only from the left. This one will be alternate. So that's how we switch it to go from left to right, right to left, instead of only sewing left to right.
And so what I'm doing now is I'm going in to optimize it because I want to make sure that I don't have any funny jump stitches. So if I go like that, now it'll start over here and it'll end here. So okay. So let's try that one more time just so you guys understand.
All right, let's go back to them.
So you go to optimize. And so what we did is I went in and I removed all the jump lines. So before there was still some around there. And so I hit that and then I hit OK. And now it will start over here and it'll end here. So now what we want to do is we want to make sure this is placed perfectly where it goes. So that's not what I want. So what I did earlier, but I didn't do this time, is I didn't mark where my center was going to be, but it's actually right here. And so if you watch this, when I hit this placement, you'll see that this will move. And I think it's because I changed my safe zone. But we can still go like this. And even though you have something outside of your safe zone, you can still stitch. Okay, so this is actually going to stitch a little bit outside here. So it's going to take a couple of stitches.
We'd always rather it stitch off your quilt than not make it to the edge of your quilt, which is why we like to have it do that.
So now, if you look at this, it looks funny because this is like the very edge of the quilt. And so it's not going to stitch over here. And so the next row is going to actually be the real contour lines. So we'll keep sewing.
And then we did have a question earlier. Once we've covered some edge-to-edge stuff, someone did want to know how we place a block pattern.
Okay, well, I'm going to let this quilt just a little bit, and then I'm going to do a block.
Perfect. So while that's quilting, I'm going to show you guys, to the best of my ability, our super awesome repair pattern feature. So just let me know when you're ready, Lynn, and we'll jump back over to you.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to just let this quilt can they see this? Okay. Yeah, see, I'm done. I mean, this is good enough.
Perfect.
Okay. So because we're doing this practice, we're going to just do a whole new, let's see, we're going to do a whole new safe zone.
Perfect.
Oh. Make sure anytime you turn on your QCT, did you have it kind of where the machine can move? Because if
Mhm.
you have it like right up against the rail or anything like that, then it can't move, then it messes stuff up. So you got to make
Yes.
sure that you always do that. Let's see. Ah, you know what? I'm gonna just get out of that again because
All right, well, they're doing that.
yeah.
If you look at my screen, I don't
Right.
have this perfectly placed because I'm in simulation mode,
Hmm.
so I don't have a machine to move and place my nodes. So I just
I
let
don't
it put
know.
it where it put it. Let's
Machine.
say my thread broke or my bobbin ran out and I didn't notice for a little bit. How am I going to repair that pattern? Well, we're going to hit stop sewing and then it'll bring us to this page. And then right next to that red toolbox, there's a little band-aid, and right above it says repair pattern.
That's the
If we
line
click
comes up.
that, that will take us to this. And what we're going to want to do is we're going to hit that toolbox once we're in this page and hit release carriage. What that's going to do is that's going to allow us to freely move the carriage around and line it up to our last stitch that actually had thread in it. So what you do is you line it up closest to that last stitch that has thread, and then you're going to hit closest stitch button. And what it's going to do, that arrow is mimicking my machine, as it'll run over to that closest stitch. And then what you want to do is you want to trace backwards. I like to use the -1 button down here. And you're going to trace back, I like to say up to 3 times. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pull your bobbin again and then continue sewing. It'll restitch, it'll hit all the holes it had hit previously, so you don't have to worry about there being holes in your fabric if it's not meant to be like a washed one. Or if you are going to wash it, that's okay. They'll disappear anyway, but it'll hit those same holes it had punctured before, even when it didn't have thread. And then once my bobbin is pulled, I'd hit sew and it would continue.
Okay, so now that this is booting up again, we can set our safe zone. And again, when you set your safe zone, typically you want to do as big as you can. You know, just
Yes, and
because
it'll,
that way, we're going to do this select and sew. And this is what we'll do to do that. So we'll go way big.
perfect. So what he said is he hit select and sew, and now he's setting his safe area. It'll prompt you to go to the very top left of your quilt and then the very bottom right, so it has the full width and depth of your quilting area.
And that way you make sure that it's not going to be outside your safe zone. So this automatically comes up into the blocks. And you can, if you have gold access, you can actually go into the gold patterns. And a lot of those have some really cool blocks in them as well. Um, but if you don't have that access, then just this regular one is the one that comes as the default one. So if you wanted to do like these bears, or actually I'm going to do this one because it's like what you would do in a normal block. So I'll just do that one. And then there it is. Now I have 4 points. I can change how I do that. I can place it as a triangle, or I can also do it as a block, or 2 points. But I like 4 points because then that way, if I'm putting it in a specific place, I can make sure that it fits in on the block I have. So I will just go down like that, move it to the next corner.
Yes, so what he's doing, if we go full screen back to him, is he's
Okay.
moving his machine over the points he wants that block to set and then
So,
turning those nodes green.
okay, so let's say that this isn't exactly where I wanted it. So, because I wanted to move it, so I'd move my machine, closer where it is, and then I would just keep moving it. So you keep on touching those little green circles, and then that lets you make sure that it's going to fit exactly in the area that you have. And you can see that it kind of stretches it. So another thing I can do though is let's say that I don't like it that way. And now this one, you probably won't be able to tell, but I can actually flip it. So I could go like that, and then I can flip it this way, or I can flip it that way. And then you can also, there's some other things on here where you can do fit or stretch. So we're doing stretch, but if I do fit, then I can make sure that it fits in a certain area. I like stretch because then that way it makes it so that I can get where I want it. I also have these other things where I can change, I can rotate it 5 degrees, 15 degrees, 45 degrees, or 1 degree, or I can reverse it. This one, it starts and stops in the same one. And so there's, that reversing is not going to make a big difference. But if you have a block that doesn't, that starts in one place and ends in another, that's where you can go and you can reverse that. So if we want to actually stitch this one out, we'll hit quilt, and you always hold your thread when that starts so that it can pull the bobbin, and it'll take some locking stitches. So it's got to go to the center where that is so it can start.
Perfect. And then we have a question from Linda. She says, what does that stretch feature do? So let's say we didn't place it in exactly a square, like it was maybe a little bit rectangular. And so there would be a little bit of kind of like empty area around the edges. And so let me find a pattern that will actually stretch and fit for you. We're going to do this little butterfly. So let's say I've got it set like this. Oh, we'll go back one. Okay, so that looks a little stretched out. The fit one will bring it back to its actual size, and stretch will bring it to fit that entire area that you set those nodes to do. All right, let's go back to the sewing.
So now we have this on the full speed, and so it's as fast as it will go. And it actually can go pretty fast. That's one thing I really like about this 21X Elite is how fast it can stitch out. Yeah. Now, it's really hard to adjust the stitches per inch as you do it. I haven't found a really easy way to do that. What do you think, Allegra? Is there a way to stop this and then adjust the stitches?
Not while it's in the middle of stitching. That's something you do have to do before you set the pattern.
So you would go into the settings, and then, because like if you think, wow, I really don't like that, then yeah, your best idea is before you're going to quilt on your real quilt, you want to have a sample one like this that you can test out your design first. And that's what I like about this, because if I just throw that piece on there with an old quilt I've already done, then I can practice on that, and then it's like, yeah, I got it. Then oh, you know what? 12 stitches per inch, it works a lot better for me than 10. So it really depends upon your design, and so you just really want to be able to play with it and try different things before you actually quilt on your quilt, because you're going to be doing a lot of unpicking if you're not happy with it.
Yes, so
So
always utilize practice quilts. They are your best friend.
yeah, they really are. So anyway, we could stitch this whole thing out, but maybe we want to get to some of the other gold features. So let's go ahead and we'll just quit on this one. So always remember to push your machine away and then hover your needle over where the thread comes out. and do that and then cut it. And you don't have to back tack it. You don't have to do all that stuff. And that will never come undone. So that works out really well. So let's look in there at the gold features though, because there's a lot of these, and people kind of wonder, well, why would I want to spend $200 a year for this? Well, there's a lot of really awesome things in here that are just so helpful. So if you look over here, this is where I did corners. So this was really cool because I went and I simulated like I had this was the border in my quilt, and so then I just went and pulled up this design, and then it automatically went and stitched those out for me. So there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with the corners. And if you go into the gold patterns, there's a ton of corner designs, and it's so awesome. But anyway, now the corner, this one, this is where you can actually go in, and if you want to go into pattern CAD, then it allows you to do more of the designing. If you're not into the designing, then yeah, that one's not something you probably want to do. This one I really like. Um, if I do so what I can do in here, and if you look over here, you can see where I did Kathy quilts. So I did that in the font stitcher.
Ooh, that
And
looks fantastic.
so yeah, as I stretched it a little bit just because I wanted to have it in between those things
Uh-huh.
like it was in my border. So you just go in and you can type in um, like
You
hello.
could sign your name, you could put a little
Yeah.
quote in there. Great for baby blankets if you want to put the baby's name on there.
Oh, three L's. So thank heavens that they have a backspace. Do that. Okay, so we'll just say hello. So now we'll just say that.
And someone is asking if there are more patterns in gold over pro. You get access to monthly patterns that you don't get in the tiers below. So you get like access to a new pattern or a few patterns every month, which is not a feature that you get in pro.
So now, since I created that, I can go like this, and I can stitch it out. Oops. And my L's look a little bit wonky. But this is really cool if you have something specific that you want to be able to just write on your quilt. And so there's a few different fonts that you can do, and it's really cool. Now there's going to be jump stitches on this one. I probably could have gone in and optimized it.
And if we want to jump to my screen, I can show you some of those fonts that we have. So I got Kathy's quilt's name in here. I'm just going to bunch over, show you the options that you have.
Oh.
Also, you can bold them. You can make it italic if you prefer. So you do really have a lot of options with what you want here.
So now, after it finishes with my H, now I have
We
to
can go
move
back
to
to
the
them.
next one. I'll jump over to the next letter.
And the nice thing is it will tie them off for you. So you could always, once you're finished, you could go through and trim all the ones on the front and then flip it over and trim all the ones on the back. All right, we have a question from Shelly. She says, if you unsubscribe to Gold, do you lose the patterns you've downloaded and used? Yes, if you don't renew your gold subscription, you lose all of your gold patterns. Once you renew your subscription, though, then you can, all of those come back. So that's it bearing the stitches before it moves to its next point. And now Lynn's gonna hit move to next. It'll move to the next letter. It'll tie off its stitches.
And then you can see it didn't do this part of the E, but it's going to come back and do that later on. Oh, how to hit sew.
And you do have to hit sew after you move between the jumps. I always
Yes,
forget to
you do.
hit sew as well.
Just find that one here.
And then again, it's tying off those stitches so that you can move to a new spot without unraveling.
Yep.
And then just so you know, Lynn, we've got about 10 minutes before we got to transition to our
Okay.
last giveaway and end of the
Okay.
event.
Okay. Well, we'll try to utilize our time really well. So we're not going to keep doing this. We're just going to quit on this. Okay. So now one thing that's really, really cool. This is Pattern CAD. And so if you go in here, this will allow you to take a design that you've already done, and then you can modify it, because sometimes Kathy sees a design that she really likes, but then she only needs part of it. So she goes and she gets rid of it. So this is only available in the Pro version. And so that's what's so nice about it. Oh, and then also, yeah, this is really important. These down here are the different file types. So the GPF, that's the Grace file for the pattern file. And then there's others like the QLI, that's, I believe that's Statler Stitcher. And there's Handy Quilter. So if you get a design from a friend who has that, then you'll be able to just get that and pull it in, and you could use their, so you could share patterns with your friends.
Yes, so if
So
you have any
that's
that
really
you've
fun.
purchased or someone's given you, as long as they match those file types, if you're in QCT6 Plus Pro or Gold, you can upload those into the system.
Mhm. Yeah. So this is another thing that's really cool. Kathy goes out and she'll go to like Urban Elements or even Etsy, several different places, and um, she'll actually go in and get patterns. So if you buy a pattern from somewhere else and you import it, those patterns do not go away. Once you've purchased it, then that's yours. And so even if you go in and modify it and save it as something else, you're able to go in and do that. So she's always looking for new patterns. And most of the time she doesn't create her own patterns, because it's, for her, time is money. So she just wants to go in and make sure that she finds what she's looking for, and then just starts quilting. Okay, so do we have any other questions that we want to cover?
Someone is asking if different companies have different like file types, like if they're specific.
Okay, yeah, what happens is all of these commercial companies, they want to have it so that people will buy their patterns. And so usually when you get a pattern, they're going to have all these file types in there. So, and they don't take up a lot of room. So if you go in and you're trying to pull it in, first thing you're going to look for do they have a GPF file? If they don't, then you can pull in any of the other ones that you want, and then you can actually optimize it for working with your QCT.
Yeah, so as long
Yeah.
as it's one of those file types, you can upload it in. And then if you have Pro, you can do any adjusting that you need to make it look how you want it to. If you're not in Pro, then you are limited to what the pattern already is in the system. Whether it's one you've uploaded or one in the system, there's no changing the patterns. You can rotate them, flip them, but you can't actually edit the patterns unless you're in Pro.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, basically every pattern we've ever got, the free ones or the let's see, oh, the free ones, they most of them that we've ever seen actually have about 10 or 11 different things, and so that the better designers are going to make it so that it's more compatible with more different systems. So, but you can always check just to make sure that it works before you download it to your QCT.
Yes. And I know we haven't gotten this question yet, but a really popular question we have gotten since going up to QCT 6 is, if I have QCT 5, how do I get to 6? So if you want to pull up my laptop screen or my tablet, I will show you how to do that.
Yeah, that's a really good one because there are people that haven't updated theirs yet, and
Yes.
they don't realize they can do it for free.
So whether you're in QCT 5 beginnings, which just got a name change to QCT 6 plus, whatever level you're in, we're going to go to that question mark that says help in the top right. And then on the right side, we have all of these white keys with options. We want the one that says software management. And then this is going to pop up. We're going to hit check for updates. And then just make sure you're connected to Wi-Fi and hit update now from online files. And that'll bring you up to 6. It's kind of just like updating your phone. So it's a free update and you can do it from your own tablet. All right, Lynn, anything else you want to add?
Okay, let's see. Nope, I think that's pretty much it. So what we're gonna do is while um, we go through all of these features, I'm actually gonna have Kathy help out with these, and so we will decode all of the gold features so that you guys can see exactly what's going on. So just keep an eye out for our videos on YouTube, and we'll show you how to do all that stuff because gold is really awesome. You know what? I just remembered. Do we have just a few seconds? This is so
Yes.
important. Okay, eclipse. Eclipse, that was one I meant to really show you guys. There, we have a good video on YouTube that shows you how to use Eclipse. That's just so awesome because like if you look back behind my machine here, you can see that we have all those hats. And if Kathy was quilting that with her quilt motion and she didn't want to do that, she would go in and mask those off with the Eclipse. And so it would stitch all around everything except for where she masks it off. So that's
Yes.
a feature she uses a ton with
Yes, I
gold.
do have a photo example on my tablet here. So this is pretty much what it'll do. So first picture is just showing you your typical edge-to-edge pattern or anything you're placing. The second picture is showing you how you can block that piece out. So if you had maybe like a really complicated quilt block or maybe a panel that you didn't really want to go over, you can use those orange lines to mark it out. And then you'll notice in the next picture, it'll stitch everywhere but those places you told it not to. So just like Lynn was saying, if you want to be able to skip over certain parts, this is a great feature that's available in the Gold program.
Yeah, so gold is just really, really awesome. Now, this is the thing that's really important too, is let's say that you're just getting your QCT set up and you want to do a few things and all that. You don't have to register your gold until you're ready. And then once you register it, then you'll have 365 days of that. And so by that time, you can wait till there's another sale on it, and then even if it hasn't expired, if you register it, it just extends how many days you have.
Yeah,
So
so
it's
take advantage of the great pricing we're doing through Kathy Quilts. If you want to stock up on those gold cards, now's a great time to do it because they only start once you put them into the system. So you could buy 3 and they could last until you actually enter them into the system.
yeah, really, really awesome. And so again, for people that are looking, this is the great thing about doing these digital events is even though things maybe don't always go the way as planned when you're doing a live event. The thing is really, really awesome is that from now till the end of next Tuesday, we get to have special event pricing. So on
Yes.
our website, I have a special page that I have to turn off every time after this is done. And even though might not be the prices that you see, um, that's the price you can get. And you get
Yes.
20% off any of the accessories. So really, really awesome time to get anything that you've been thinking about getting.
Yes.
And
And
we're just way excited.
every automation purchase through Kathy Quilts for this event, you also get a free 9-piece hopping foot to go with it, which comes with your glide foot in there. So that keeps anything from folding over and stitching over itself, catching any appliques, anything like that. So definitely take advantage of it and purchase through Kathy Quilts so you can get that free 9-piece hopping foot set as well.
So see, is that on upgrades as well, or is that just on the full thing, Allegra?
You know what? Let's do upgrades as well.
Cool. So yeah, now's the time to upgrade to gold.
Yes, now we had a wonderful demo and we still have one more giveaway to give away.
Okay.
This is going to be that free motion starter kit we talked about in the beginning. So we'll do a little drum roll. And the winner is Lisa Insall. So I will reach
Awesome.
out to you. I have your information because you registered for the event. So just expect an email from Allegra so I can get the best shipping information for you.
Well, that's awesome. We're just so excited and happy that we've been able to do this. And so we're going to do another event in April. It'll probably be kind of towards the end of April as well, or mid-April. I haven't talked to Allegra about that one yet. But for people so Allegra, I'm asking you a question. For people who have already registered on there, will they get any emails or anything about um, when our new event is, or is
If
that something
they
they just have to get through us?
if they go to their account in the event one, they can mark to have them be notified or not about upcoming events.
Oh, nice, nice. Okay, cool. Well, that's exciting. Okay, well, I think we're good. And if people have questions, just give us a call or email me, and
Yes,
I'll
we've
be
got
here
their
to help you
phone
out.
number, their email, and their website down at the bottom. So make sure you write those down and get those orders sent in. All right. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time at our next Kathy Quilts event. You
Thanks,
guys have a great
Allegra.
rest of your
Appreciate
day.
all your help.
Thank you, Lynn.
Yeah.